And welcome back. Hey everybody. This is Unearthed Evidence. I am Jen Folk. We also have Gina Nisanoff with us. I want to thank you all for joining us and welcome back to the new segments, I guess. We took a little break and we're excited to be back. We've got some new stuff for you. Today we're going to talk to you guys about the Smiley Face Killer. And I don't know if anybody has ever heard of this case, but it's very interesting and I cannot wait because before we even got on air, Gina and I were talking about kind of, not really what we found, but just how excited we were to talk about this. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say, Gina. So let's jump into it. For those of you who don't know who we are, I'm Jen. I do the research, see what I can find, and Gina is our wonderful and beautiful and amazing psychic who is able to psychic to the stars, is what I like to say.
Something. Well, I hadn't heard about the Smiley Face Killers. So it was the first time when you mentioned it, like, hey, look into the case. And I have to tell you, this does happen sometimes. Sometimes you can tap into the victims. If I have like one or two pictures of the victims,
Right.
and here I just had just one picture of each, and it was kind of a collage. I did pick up a few things, but what I got was more for the reason they were killed and kind of the murderers and murderers. I want to use a plural with that.
Okay. All right.
So what I got, and the first thing I got was drugged. Okay, so drugged or drugs. So take that where that would apply. And instantly, like I said, I wasn't getting much from the victims, the little collage of pictures that I got. I instantly felt the motive or the reason that they were killed. What I got from this was a sacrifice of some sort, ritualistic, could be gang related. And instantly what came to me was this was a teaching act.
Oh,
Teaching.
that's different.
I know, but I got to get the teaching act of teaching somebody how to torture people. And
Creepy.
I don't know. This was a practitioner of some sort. This was a practitioner of lower vibrational spiritual practices, is the best way to
Hmm.
put it. Could be Native American or Native American ritualistics. What I got was that somebody was teaching. So I don't know if this is some sort of network, group, coven. I'm not sure, but this is a network. So that's why I was like, is this gang related or? But this was a network of people, and somebody was teaching people how to do this. So I do feel like this could involve men and women. I do feel, because I picked up both energies, I do pick up that they were looking for easy targets. And then there was a purpose for the water, not just to get rid of evidence and all of that stuff. But I feel, and I wasn't getting so much sexual stuff. But what I did get was that it was more of about power and control and having that. There was really some like some sort of emotional satisfaction of being able to hold somebody's life and watch it go. Is
I
that
mean,
the minute they knew that somebody was dying, that was where the adrenaline fix was. Is my I do feel like at least two of the individuals could have known each other from prison, or they were jailed together, or I don't know if this is where this group formed, but I do feel that there's some sort of incarceration or prison
the
association.
group that was doing the killings
Could be
or
the
the
practitioners. That
okay.
so I'm not, it's
Okay.
very vague, but that's what I'm getting. Um, and I do feel, and I don't know if this is going to make any sense. One of the reasons that they were put into the water had to do with uh, like water magic. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But something to do with water magic or water spirits or water something of that nature.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so there could Now, um, there could be travel involved, or like I said, this was a network of people. But I believe that initially it started with people being taught. Things
Okay.
things were being taught. That's what I got from this case.
That's crazy. So
I know.
you think this is water related?
I believe it was water related for the practitioners. There's some, and I'm not well versed in um, magic. I'm not well versed in it, so I can't speak on it. But I get that there's some sort of elemental magic there.
Okay.
These were sacrifices to that, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, it does. In a few different pantheons, they have water gods and they have water like there's like undines and the sirens is where we get sirens from. The mermaids, there were sirens. They made the noises look beautiful and all that stuff to steer men to their death, and any sailor, any person who is on a boat understands, that there's the god Neptune, there's Poseidon, just depends on what pantheon you go to. And they were water gods. So there are water gods and water spirits.
Isn't the sirens, weren't they the mothers of the Nephilim?
No.
I thought they were. I want to say that they are, or they were, that they were the ones that birthed the Nephilim, or that because the gods came down and procreated, and then the mothers of the children were sent into the water. We have to look that.
Um yeah, we will have to look that up, but from what I understand of the Nephilim, actually it was the gods are, in Christianity, it's angels. They come down and um they had relations with human women. And those human women birthed the Nephilim, and the Nephilim were actual giants.
Right.
And the human women, I don't know what happened to them. I don't know. I haven't
I
read the
think
book
they
of.
were cast to the water and they became sirens. That's what I heard. That's what I
Okay.
reading, but I
Well,
could
then there would be the correlation. But yeah, I had never heard that the human mothers were cast into the water or anything like that. That's interesting. I would definitely like to research that and look into that.
but this was some sort of, and I want to be very delicate when I use the word witchcraft, because as we know, there's light and dark in everything, but this is
Hmm.
definitely on a darker practitioners. And I kept checking and I'm like, am I really picking this up? And I was picking up male and women. So I don't know um, why somebody would be doing this, but like I said, I kept getting ritual, sacrifice,
Hmm.
gang related, and or group or network related.
Okay.
So that's what I got.
Wow. Well, um, the smiley face killings I think it's up to 100 plus now, um, of men, young men, 20s, between 20 and 30 years of age. And they're all pulled out of bodies of water. They're all pulled out of a lake, a river, something like that, where they have ended up drowning. Um, what the information that I found came from a couple different sources. In my opinion, I really don't believe that there's a serial killer out there or a smiley face killer at all because of what I've seen. However, there are a couple of two former police officers and one criminal justice professor who really strongly believes that this is an act of a serial killer, and that there's in their database, since they've been researching this back from 1997,
Oh wow.
they have over 680 incidences of men 20 to 30 being drowned in a some form of body of water and being pulled out. And they're saying that the victims are over 680 plus.
Wow.
So since 1997. Now, the thing is that there's been so many men pulled out of rivers and lakes in over 25 cities across the nation.
So I mean, I'm not the expert in crime, but this does not seem like a single killer to me.
It sounds like a group to me.
Sounds like a group and a network. Yeah.
Almost all the men were last seen leaving bars or parties of some sort. So they're pretty inebriated.
Okay.
And police theorize the men were just too drunk. This is what the police say. The men were too drunk, leaving the bars and the parties, and um, had just fallen into the water. But the NYPD, they were the two officers, former officers, they started private investigator business, and brought on this legal professor, criminal justice professor Lee. So one of these NYPD officers was Kevin, another one was named Anthony, and then they have Lee. They're all looking at everything, and they're the ones who said that it's not just random, that it is actually somebody who is doing this. At every scene, there's a smiley face, which is why you have the Smiley Face Killer. I don't. They say the reasoning for them thinking that it is a serial killer is very weak. Um, they insist the murders are linked because of the graffiti and the similarities between all the victims. All the victims are male, all the victims are 20 to 30 years old, and all of them were educated. They were in college, going to college, you know, for some pretty good majors and stuff like that. Um, let's see.
I do feel like they were tortured. I don't know that they were sexually tortured. I'm not picking up that, but I do feel like there was some sort of torture involved because I
Yeah,
get teaching act of torture and murder. That
okay. The only maybe it was oxygen deprivation was the torture. I don't know because they're not they're the only thing that they had was that um these bodies were just they were drowned. But however, wait. Kevin and Anthony believed there was overwhelming evidence um to suspect foul play because they feel one of the first victims um was named Patrick McNeil. He disappeared February of 97. He went to Fordham University. He left the Dapper Dog bar on Manhattan's Upper East Side and was found floating in the river near a pier in the Bay Ridge area of Brooklyn on April 7th, and he was 21. Um, now, I guess, let's see. They're saying, according to Kevin and Anthony, the reason for believing that there was evidence consistent with foul play was because um, there was intoxication consistent with drugging. There
ah,
were a couple of eyewitness reports that said that McNeil was followed by a car, was stalked. There were ligature marks on Patrick's neck. Um,
I'm feeling like
charring.
we're bound. Hands were bound.
There was charring on his head and torso,
Oh
and the
God.
body's position in the water was inconsistent with drowning. So that was just one of the cases
Yeah.
um, that Kevin and Anthony had actually come forward about. And they believe, according to Kevin and Anthony, they believe that the killer or killers are motivated by envy. They believe that they might have been a student who was likely the complete opposite of any of these other students. Like these guys who were murdered were, good students on the, dean's list, higher grades. but they believe that the person who or people who were doing the killings were kind of like they're just there for whatever reason. They don't make good grades, they're not good in school, they don't have a job, possibly, and possibly they're not popular, which that to me, the not popular thing, that doesn't jive for college age, because nobody's popular in college, because you either know me or you don't. I don't care either way.
Right.
So, um, but the two former police NYPD officers believe that um these people would lash out by drugging and murdering the men before dumping their bodies in the lakes. So I there were so many that I didn't even get a chance to individually go through, with the exception of Patrick McNeil. But he he had all these extra things that nobody took into consideration. They just assumed that it was an accidental drowning.
Yeah.
So if he did in fact have all this extra stuff happen to his body, why didn't they research it? You know? But like I said, there's still stuff going on. February of 2023, there was a Newsweek article. That was the Newsweek article that I was talking about, that said that um, the guys really feel that this is all connected, and that over 680 deaths might be actually connected to these serial killers, but the smiley face killers. But the thing that I'm having an issue with is how widespread they are. But when you said that it might be a group
Yeah.
of people, you
Yeah.
know, it makes sense now why it's so widespread across the nation. Because if anybody ever wanted to do any research on it, you'll see a map of all the different places, and it does kind of look like a smiley face line, kind of, sort of.
Oh boy.
But there's there's to me, it just seems like the two things that are the big samesies. The only thing that you can really say is the same thing is that the age of the men, well, three, they're all men, the age of their men, and the fact that they're all pulled out of a body of water. I think my problem with this is that I understand that there's a smiley face there with every person that they pull out of the water, but it's graffiti. How much graffiti is all over everything? How can you tell me that that was done at the time? Is there a special way to test the paint?
Yeah. Yeah. That's and smiley face in the 90s. I mean, we had remember
Everywhere.
it was everywhere. So I don't know how much of that, but I think if law enforcement really, or they need to get a specialist in this kind
Mm.
of stuff
Yeah.
that can into sacrificial, what I'm picking up. And I do believe this could, like I said, I believe it's a practitioner of some sort, could be indigenous. They
Mhm.
need, they need a specialist to look into this because I believe that these bodies were offerings.
Okay.
That's what I believe.
And I mean, who's to say? Nobody was there. There were no witnesses. So it's really hard to whoever did, if it was done on purpose. But I don't know, 680 plus people
And
going in the drink is kind of a little much.
they're all put into water. How many times have people been murdered and they've been burned, they've been buried, they've been
Mhm.
a million other things? These all were put into water. There's something.
Yeah, and I mean, this is over, that was back in '97 this started. So, how old's my kid? 26, 27 years? I mean, I guess 680 people, but I don't know. That to me seems like it's a lot, even for a ritual.
Well, that all that number might not be associated with this case in
Right.
particular, but
Well, the guy is saying, the two NYPD former officers are saying that 680 plus people are who they have connected to this case. That's how many people have died that are supposedly connected with the smiley face killers. And I can't, are you getting anything from that? Maybe it's not that much, or maybe it's more.
I don't know. But I do believe that this was, like I said, some sort of how it started was a practitioner, I
Mhm.
believe, could have been more than one, and this was a teaching act of torture and murder. That's what it was. That was the purpose of it.
And I
And
mean, Patrick, it really does meet exactly what you're saying,
yeah,
especially with charred spots on his body, the ligature marks, you know, stuff like that. That's torturous.
I think they wanted them afraid as much
Mhm.
as they could, but I do believe that, like I said, they need a real, what do they call it? Like an expert in ritualistic stuff. They really need somebody that can go to the dark side and really look into this.
Mhm.
And I do believe that uh, maybe the leader, possibly, of this group or whatever was in prison, does have a criminal history, and maybe this kind of network was formed through some sort of jail affiliation.
Would you say maybe it's more like a cult?
Could
Not
be,
a cult, just a cult. CULT.
could be, could be, absolutely. But I just, that's what I picked up, and I was like, that's when we started. I'm like, Jen, not too much from these victims, but I got something, and I double checked it, and I put it away, and then came back and took a look. I keep getting the same thing, and then I kept getting male and female. So it could be that it grew,
Yeah.
uh, but this was taught. Whatever they were doing was taught.
That's crazy that there's that many people out there doing this kind of creepy stuff. You never know. You never know what your neighbors are doing. Mine do. They see me in the backyard, you know, doing weird stuff. They haven't come up to me yet, but
They're like, we're staying far away, lady.
yeah, we're staying inside.
Well,
It, there's a reason I do it out in the backyard. But yeah, so I mean this is I don't even know what to say about this. It was one of those things that was, you know, is it a serial killer? Is it not? It didn't, it sounded too much like it was just all coincidence. But then when you started saying, you know, what you were getting, it kind of tied it together like, oh, okay. I could see how that, you know, may possibly play out.
well,
So,
the reason for all of this stuff, the main purpose of it, the reason people do rituals is they want to get some sort of reward. And
yeah.
that, I believe, the main motive was to be rewarded in some fashion.
And
So
usually it's power.
power, power.
Usually it is power.
So
So,
there you go.
well, I just I don't this was a weird one. So and it just seems like that's what we've been getting lately is a bunch of weird ones and I'm sorry.
That,
I'm finding all the weird ones that
that we do the
but
weird.
what's that?
I said that's our specialty.
Yeah, weird's our specialty. So, well, we want to thank you guys for joining us this week, and we will look forward to next week. And thank you, Gina, for your expertise because I swear to God, without you, this would be the most boring show on the planet.
Well, hopefully somebody looks at our weird case and goes, "Huh, there's an angle we didn't think about. Let's look into that." And
Right.
I do believe that there will be some sort of crack in this case. I don't know when, but I do believe that there will be some sort of crack and that it will be an unfolding of the full thing.
Oh,
So it's
good.
like one person, it's going to be an unfolding. That's kind of what I get. So I do believe that it's run its course, or maybe the practitioners, I don't know if they're still alive, the original ones, and and the
Mhm.
ones who are involved, if they're even involved anymore. I do believe it's a coming and going, but I do believe it's going to be at some point the truth is going to come out, or the story will.
That's good news, and I hope that it's in our lifetime so we can see it. So we can be like, "Hey, we did a story on that." Well, thank you everybody for Unearthed Evidence. I am JL Folk,
And I'm Gina.
and we appreciate you showing up and showing out. Have a great night and look for us next week.
Bye bye.
Bye.